Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of the J&J podcast. It is Friday today. We usually film on Thursday, but after a great night of basketball last night, we have a lot of coverage on the games and a little summary of what's going on right now, along with some predictions incoming. So last night we had the Warriors against the Kings, we had the Suns versus the Clippers, and we had the Sixers versus Nets. All great games. Let's hear what you got to say about them.
Yeah, well, obviously the Warriors and the Kings are probably the best series. I think, honestly, that's probably one of the best series I've watched in my whole entire life.
Oh, it's unreal.
And especially in the first round, like seeing those two teams go at it in the first round is just it's a lot of fun to watch. And obviously the Warriors took their first win.
Mm-hmm.
They needed it, and they're one of the best teams at home, so they had to capitalize on it. So.
Yeah, they definitely last night took advantage of their home court advantage. Steph Curry, 36 points. Kevin Looney with 20 rebounds. That's crazy.
Yeah.
They're playing at such a fast pace. The games are just so fun to watch right now.
Yeah, I think with Kevin Looney, or however you say his name, I think every team needs someone like him that can always. I feel like with him, whenever I'm watching him, he's always crashing the boards. And he's always dishing out. Whenever he gets an offensive rebound, he always looks for his shooters, which is a really good quality to have, especially on the Warriors when you have Clay and Steph on your team. So it's obviously a really good thing to have Kevon Looney on your team. So.
Oh, yeah. Kevon was definitely crashing the boards last night. No Draymond, so he needed to. They were starting off rough. Sabonis had 14 boards in the first half, so it wasn't looking great there, but they picked it up in the second half, shut him down. It was definitely a fun game to watch, and the first two games were amazing as well. So it's very interesting to see what's going to be going on. But the other game at the same time last night, we had Clippers versus Suns. Obviously, the Suns prevail 2 straight games, and now they're in Los Angeles. They were in Los Angeles last night. What do you think about that series?
I think it's also another good series. I think it's probably my second favorite series right now. But I loved seeing Russell Westbrook playing good. He had 38 and 12, and it's good to see him kind of take that first role in a team once again. And as you guys saw, Norman Powell had 42. I mean, if that guy gets hot, I mean, he's just a role player, but if he gets hot, he can stroke it. But obviously, the Suns are a lot to handle. Booker had 45, KD had 28. That's just a lot to handle. But yeah, it was a good game.
Yeah, Clippers look a lot better than I thought they were going to with no PG in the series. I think this really is going to be a series now. I'll talk about that a little bit later with my predictions. But we did talk about before this episode last week when we were talking about our predictions, we talked about how Russell Westbrook would be a pivotal part of that team in the series and how well they would play. And game 1, you saw his scoring wasn't going, but he still impacted the court in other ways. He had amazing defense. We've seen a lot out of him so far, and I'm definitely happy with how he's playing. It's making me smile, taking me back to the old Russ. So yeah.
That other game last night, the Nets and the 76ers, we actually saw a good game out of those two. What I'm seeing a lot of in this playoffs is low-scoring games. Low-scoring games to like that teams are getting held at 80. I think Brooklyn was held to 84 in game 2.
97 last night.
97 last night. Like it shows that people are really playing defense. And I think if you want to win, I go by that saying, defense wins championships, and I believe that. So
there's definitely a reason why good defensive teams win the championship every year. There's been a lot of great offense-only teams, and rarely does it seem that they work. Like, you need to have defense, and most of the champions in the past couple of years, or in the last 20 years, have been right there in defensive efficiency as well as offensive efficiency. But the Nets, obviously, we talked about it, they're not quite there yet, but we're seeing it because last night was their opportunity. There was no Harden. He got ejected. He had a good night before he was ejected, though. Embiid had a horrible night.
Yeah,
Only
I think it was
14 points.
14 points, but it was the second lowest scoring of his career.
Oh yeah,
So
it was unreal. 14 points, but Maxey stepped up when nobody else was scoring. He had 25. But even with Bridges dropping 26, Dinwiddie with 20, and Cam Johnson with 17, it was not enough. Sixers up 3-0. I think that series is just about over.
yeah.
But yeah, that was a great night last night.
Mhm.
Some other series that are going on right now, obviously. The night before, we had a couple games on Wednesday with the Grizzlies playing the Lakers and the Bucks played the Heat.
Mhm.
And the Nuggets played the Timberwolves. But the Grizzlies get a win with no Ja, which is crazy. It's impressive.
I honestly think they're a better basketball team without him, and I think a lot of people could agree with that. In game one, they played really well against the Lakers, but until the end, obviously they went on a 15-0 run at the end. They closed that one out really easily, but Jaren Jackson really is showing why he is Defensive Player of the Year and is just a great overall player, and just in general, like he does everything on the floor that you need. I think in the last game against the Lakers, I think there was like 6 to 7 players in double digits. I think Xavier Tillman was leading the team in scoring that night. So I mean, you never know with the Grizzlies. They could either be really good or they're just really mid.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everyone's stepping up to the plate. They need other people to step up with Ja out. They need a lot of production out of guys like Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., and even other role players like Trey Jones, Dylan Brooks, even with everything going on with him. But they need that production, and honestly, they're getting it. The Lakers are 7th seed for a reason. They're not better than the Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies, even without Ja, I think are still better. And I think they're going to prove it, but it's still going to be a series, but it's looking good right now.
Yeah.
And then there was the Bucks versus the Heat, and Bucks had no Giannis.
Yeah.
And still got the win.
That's another case of your star being injured, and honestly, the Bucks look about the same without Giannis when they do have Giannis.
Okay.
When they don't have Giannis, I feel like they almost play better. In a sense, I feel like they
More like a team.
yeah, more like a team,
Yeah.
and less like a just
Stand
a
and watch.
star-studded
Yeah.
game. But I think they're a really good team all around, and they don't even need Giannis to win these type of games. But obviously having Giannis will help them. But obviously, like Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, Brook Lopez, it's a lot to handle. I think they had 6 to 7 people in double digits. They have a lot of role players that can get to the hoop, shoot.
Oh yeah.
They can do it all.
They've built the team perfectly around Giannis to where, I mean, they have so many shooters on their team, guys that can stretch the floor. They have Brook Lopez, Drew Holiday that can play amazing defense. They have a former All-Star in Chris Middleton before his injury. They're still an amazing team, even without Giannis. They'd be a playoff team even if they didn't have Giannis. The Heat, I think that they're way better on paper than they're playing this year. But again, like I said last week, I don't think it's the Heat's year. I think even without Giannis, the Bucks are going to be okay, and I bet Giannis comes back soon. So
yeah, I mean, taking game one is pretty. I mean, it's an impressive win, but Giannis was only playing like 10 minutes, maybe, because he had a scary fall and landed on his back, and that's why he was out game two. But I mean, playoff Jimmy is a different level. If he can continue to play like he is, maybe they can take another game. But they need to have Bam and Jimmy, like, they need to start using them way more because that duo can be way better than it can be, or than it is. Yeah.
For sure. And then our final game from Wednesday night was the Nuggets versus Timberwolves. Nuggets win. They have a 2-0 lead currently. I believe they play tonight. And Anthony Edwards, despite dropping 41 points, still loses. And that's mostly due to the performance of the Nuggets' big three.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they look great.
Yeah, I really love Anthony Edwards. I think he is the best out of that draft class. LaMelo was in that draft class. James Wiseman, right?
Yes, yeah.
But Anthony Edwards is a hot and cold player. If like we saw in the play-in game, I think he only had like 7 points. He struggled really bad, but if he's on, he is an all-star type of player. Like, he's a great player. But yeah, that team just needs to rely on him playing good, and if they don't, or if he doesn't, it's kind of scary.
Oh yeah, and they didn't play horrible that night by any means. The Timberwolves put up a fight, but when Jokic has 27, 9 and 9, and Jamal drops 40, as well as a nice little 16-piece by Michael Porter Jr., a masterclass with 0 assists. There's nothing you can do about that. The Nuggets are winning that every time, especially at home. So
yeah, I think to be honest, I think this will be a sweep. Even though they're going to Minnesota, I just don't think the Timberwolves can get a game for the Nuggets unless something dramatic happens.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah. And then our final two series, the Cavs and the Knicks, tied 1-1, and Celtics-Hawks is 2-0 right now. Heading to Atlanta, heading to Madison Square Garden. That's very interesting to watch. Who are the people that have stood out to you thus far in that series?
In the Knicks Cavs?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think who needs to stand out more is Evan Mobley. Obviously, I don't know if you watched the second game of that series, but Darius Garland, after not having a good game one, he had, I think, 26 in the first half, ended with 32.
Yeah.
That's why I like his game, because he knows how to get to the basket and drawing fouls. I think that's what draws my attention to NBA players. If they can get to the free throw line,
Mm-hmm.
They can finish at the hoop. They can stretch the floor. Is a good playmaker. I want to see more of Darius Garland. We know what Donovan Mitchell can do. I think that Darius Garland needs to get the ball more, needs to take advantage of every touch that he has. Also with Evan Mobley, he's doing his part down low, getting rebounds. I think he should get some more touches as well. So, What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think Darius Garland proved to me that he's ready for the playoffs. He at first scared me a little bit due to the fact that he'd never really been there. He played one play-in game, but very inexperienced. We talked about how young the Cavs are, their inexperience in the playoffs, and it showed in game one for me. But in the regular season, Darius and Donovan were about a 1-2 punch, but Donovan seemed to be shining a little bit brighter than Darius to me. And I really think in the playoffs, for them to make a push, to make a run, they're going to need them to be hand in hand. Mm-hmm. When one person's not having a good game, the other person has to have a great game. They're both on. They both need to be playing great. They need them to do some serious work. Mm-hmm. But as for the Knicks on the other side, Jalen Brunson's been doing his thing. He's still great, having a great series. After his amazing playoffs last year, and Julius, he's still playing great as well. Mm-hmm. They need them to keep doing some work for him when they get back to Madison.
Yeah, obviously, it's a tough spot to play. Going into Madison Square Garden with one of the most amazing atmospheres for basketball. Mm-hmm. It's going to be hard either way. The Cavs, I think, can take a game, but I think the Knicks will take another game. I think it'll be a 2-2 when it comes back to Cleveland. But I'd love to see more of my Villanova Wildcat Josh Hart. I know I love how he's playing. I wanted him to be more aggressive. Obviously, he's playing good. He's a great rebounding guard. I think those are the type of people that need to stand out in the playoffs right now. So, yeah.
And something to look out for is when the Cavs first get to Madison, to see how the inexperience in the playoffs, that atmosphere, how it may affect them at first. Because I think it could be a definite factor in the two games that are there. But my standout player that I'd like to see is I'd like to see an RJ Barrett great game. Came into the league with high expectations, obviously, but I want to see him succeed. I wanted to see Malik Monk succeed, and he's been playing well too.
Yeah.
Those are two guys drafted early, expected to be great, but I don't know. I want to see a game from both of them. But then that leads us into our final series, Celtics versus Hawks. This might be probably the least fun series to watch, I'd say. Maybe just behind the Nets and 76ers, but yeah.
Honestly, I don't think this is really much of a series. Trae Young is, he's trying. He's trying, but I mean, the TD Garden is a hard place to play at, almost as hard as Madison Square Garden. I think it's definitely up there in the best places to play and the hardest places to play as a player. But the Hawks are looking they're just looking mid, they have been the whole entire season. So I think this will be ending up in a sweep in Atlanta. We'll see if they take one game, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, I love how Trae and honestly DeJounte's been playing well too. They're both doing the most they possibly can, but this is a team that just went to the championship. The Celtics know what they're doing. They know how to win in the playoffs. They've been there every year. Jaylen Brown and Tatum, they're ready for this series, and they haven't come in playing games. So I don't expect much to change. But yeah, so that's going to lead us into our playoff predictions. So we have our mid-series predictions here.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is going to happen? We're going to go down the line from how we started here with 76ers, Nets. 3-0 76ers right now.
Bring out the brooms. It's just gonna happen. I love another Villanova Wildcat. I love my Villanova Wildcat, Mikal Bridges. I want him to succeed. I really want them to take one game, but the 76ers are so much to handle. It's inevitable. There's just no way.
Yeah, I think our original prediction of a sweep, I think I might have said that the Nets might take a game, and we've had a lot of people telling us in our comments lately that the Nets are going to take a home game. They think they're going to win one, but I think Sixers winning last night makes the Nets basically just give up.
Yeah.
They're not going to try and win this series, and they don't really need to. It's not their year. They're not going to the championship. I think this series is over. 4-0 Sixers. But then this is the complete opposite of the first one. Our next series, the Warriors-Kings, is a crazy one. What are you thinking here?
I know my prediction before the playoffs started was, I believe, Kings in 7. But personally, I said Warriors in 7.
Mm-hmm.
But personally, I think the Kings will take this series in 6. If the Warriors take next game, it could go to 7, but I think I favor the Kings more, just because these two teams are the best offensive teams in the league, obviously. But last night in Oakland, it didn't look too good for the Kings. They only scored 97. It's pretty bad when they're one of the best teams in scoring. So, what do you think?
So 2-1 Kings, still in Golden State, obviously. I think the Warriors are going to win that game. It's going to be 2-2. And I'm going to stick with my original prediction with the Kings in 7 because I don't think the Warriors can win on the road. I said I think the Warriors might lose 3 road games. I said I wouldn't think they'd lose all of them. I think they're going to lose all of them now. They can't win on the road. They have had a standout guy to me. Andrew Wiggins has been gone for so long. He's not been playing, and he's come back, and he really hasn't taken a step backwards. He looks great. He's playing great.
He hasn't missed a beat. Obviously, we know what has happened, or we don't know exactly what's happened, but we know he's had some personal reasons why he's been out. But he's been playing good. We can't really ask for much more. He's been out for however long, but yeah, he's been playing good. I think if they do win this series, it's because of Andrew Wiggins and him playing better. But I also want to see more Jordan Poole. Game 2, they only played him for 14 minutes or something like that. 4 points.
Crazy.
Obviously, like I just don't understand what that move is by Steve Kerr. I think that Jordan Poole is one of your better options on that team. Even coming off the bench or even if he's starting, you need to have him in the game to win this series.
Yeah, what I've been hearing is that the Warriors like Poole coming off the bench. Maybe necessarily for like a second unit scoring option because he can boost them there. But I think Poole is still a little reckless with how he plays. He's I wouldn't say necessarily a turnover machine, but he plays a little out of control, which may be why they're sitting him in the playoff games a little more. I still don't like it. I think he can make an impact on the court, and he's a great player, and they should have him out there.
What I saw from last night was another Wildcat, Dante DiVincenzo.
Oh my gosh, dude.
He is playing great for the Warriors. I love to see it. He's turning up on every end, offense or defense. Last night, I felt like every time I was, looking at my phone or anything, and I'd look up, it's always him, being that hustle player, getting steals, getting deflections, and I love to see it. So,
and my final player I want to talk about, we can move on after this, but Davion Mitchell, his defense on Steph this series has been great. I mean, I know Steph had a great night last night, but I see everything Davion's doing. It's giving me flashbacks to Delhi in the 2015 finals, but oh my gosh, I want to give him his props.
I really liked him out of Baylor.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be a really good piece for the Kings. Obviously, we haven't seen him that much, but I think he has a lot of room to grow, and he has a lot of potential in the NBA for sure.
Yeah. All right, and then moving on from that series, we have probably the series that we're going to have the next most to talk about is the Suns versus the Clippers. Suns up 2-1. What are you thinking? Los Angeles is where the next game is. What do you feel?
Well, obviously Kawhi Leonard was out game 2. Paul George was out game 2. It just depends if Kawhi can come back for this next game. I think they could take one game in LA. But if they go down to 3-1, it's looking scary. Obviously, the Suns are pretty good at home, especially when you have KD and Devin Booker on your team. They are obviously there for the right reason. They want to win. The Suns are not playing around right now, especially Devin Booker. He's dropping 30-plus almost every game, I think. But yeah, he's been playing good.
Yeah, I mean, when KD is your second option at the moment, that's crazy to me. A team with KD as their second option is a team that I'm going to pick any day of the week. I almost feel like it doesn't even matter how well everybody on the Clippers plays if those two are doing what they're doing. I think I'm going to boost my prediction from Suns in 5 to Suns in 6, but I still think this series is just... There's nothing the Clippers can do. They had a chance with PG. I don't think they still have much of a chance.
I think my prediction was Suns in 6, and I think I'll still stand by it, just because I think we know what Kawhi can do in the playoffs. We know he's a beast. When you have KD kind of guarding Kawhi, it's kind of a mismatch, if I'm being honest. Kawhi is just a beast. We all know that. And if he comes back next game in LA, I think they will take that game. Russell played really well last night. Norman Powell played really, really well. But yeah, if they get those role players playing alongside Russell Westbrook and Kawhi, I think they do take this game next.
By the way, I just want to mention real quick, Stephen A. Smith said that Kawhi Leonard is the worst star you can have on your team. He's an idiot. All right, Kawhi Leonard is a great star. He's a great piece. He doesn't cause attention to himself that he doesn't need. He just comes in, does his job, and he plays great every time. So I don't want to ever take away from Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, I really like Kawhi. I think he's one of the best like all around players I've ever seen. He knows how to get to the hoop. He plays amazing defense. He's a good shooter. He's very good mid range. That's probably his best ability, other than his defense, to be honest. And that team it will look really good with Paul George if they make it to that second level.
Oh yeah. But that takes us to our next series. Grizzlies versus Lakers. No Ja at the moment. I don't know if we know necessarily when he's coming back yet. I think he was iffy for that second game, so hopefully we'll see him game 3. Hey everyone, thank you for tuning into this week's episode. If you like our content so much, please go follow our TikTok and other social media at this @. Alright, so what are you thinking here for the rest of this series?
Obviously it's 1-1 right now. They're about to go to LA, and if I was Memphis, I'm scared right now. I do think it will be Grizzlies in 6 still. I'm gonna stand by my prediction before the playoffs started, but obviously if Ja comes back, they are a good team with Ja, no doubt about it, but Jaren Jackson Jr. and Desmond Bane need to play, at their highest potential, just because LeBron and AD are on the other side of, and it's just it's hard to stop them, and they're playing good right now. So yeah.
Yeah, Lakers fans were talking a lot after game 1. They thought they had this series in the bag. No John Morant, they still lose, and I'm still taking the Grizzlies in 6 games because nothing, in my opinion, has changed. Grizzlies are still the better team. I don't care about this Lakers comeback story narrative that LeBron's going to lead them to the championship with, all the Lakers fans waiting there. That's not happening.
Yeah.
It's Grizzlies in 6, no question. John Morant will come back. Grizzlies will be fine. Grizzlies in 6.
Agreed. I think my standout player for the Grizzlies is Desmond Bane. Obviously, we know how good he can be. I just think he needs to be playing at the highest potential every game. He is one of those players that is hot and cold, and if he's hot, the Grizzlies are going to be hot because they're a very
streaky team.
Yeah, very streaky team. So
yeah. Grizzlies look great. Desmond Bane looks great. My standout player is Austin Reeves. He's been playing amazing. Well, game 1 obviously went off. Finished that game for him.
14 straight points or something in the fourth.
Yeah. They needed that. I mean, they don't win that game if he doesn't do that because it was a tie game with like 3 minutes left too.
Yeah.
So, they could have easily been down 2-0 against this Grizzlies team. 2-0, you're not coming back. 1-1, you have a chance now. So, now moving on to the Bucks Heat series. Again, this may not be one of the better series, but it's 1-1 right now. So,
yeah, honestly, anything could happen. If Giannis comes back, I don't know what could happen, to be honest. I think it will end up in a Bucks win, but I don't know if the Heat could take another game or not. The Heat are so up in the air for me. I think if Jimmy keeps playing like he has been playing, they could definitely take another game. But yeah, like I said, Bam needs to get more touches. Kyle Lowry, honestly, we know what Kyle Lowry can do. He's a good player. He's a good playmaker. So we just need to see more of their stars. Not really stars, but the good players on their team need to step up more. So.
Yeah, my formula to win for the Heat beforehand would have been Jimmy, Bam, Hero. But now that Hero has a broken hand, I think there's no way they can really win.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll take another game. I don't know. If Bucks don't have Giannis, something looks crazy, something goes wrong, Heat get another game. But I think the Bucks are going to win in 5.
Yeah.
I'm going to stand by that. I think I said that beforehand. Bucks win in 5, Brook Lopez, Drew Holiday step up to the occasion any chance needed. Giannis comes back, he'll be just fine for him. So I got Bucks in 5. Don't worry about it. They got this series in the bag. But yeah, moving on to the Nuggets versus Timberwolves. What are we thinking here?
Bring out the brims. The Nuggets are looking really good right now. Obviously, like I said in, I think, episode 2, if Jokic wins this MVP, he needs to win the championship in order to get my full respect. I think he is a good player. I don't think he stat pads at all. But he needs to he needs to bring this team to a championship to get a lot of people's respect. And the first step is beating the Timberwolves. And the Timberwolves are a good team, but the Nuggets are overpowering them right now. So I think this is a sweep. So
we talked about it. Jamal Murray, great in the playoffs. He's showing us that. And I agree. I mean, you said you don't think Jokic is a winner. Well, I want Jokic to prove that he's a winner to everyone, so people, can't scrutinize his MVPs, can't take anything away from him, because I think Jokic is an amazing player, and he deserves everything he's been given to him. I think he deserves his MVPs, and if he keeps playing like this, I think he deserved this year's MVP too.
Yeah.
Because Embiid's maybe taking a step back after that game like that.
Yeah.
14 points in a playoff game, that might just throw his chances away, but we'll see if the recency bias gets him. But I also want to mention Anthony Edwards. He's been great. Cat was great in Game 1 too, I believe. They're doing all they can. They just don't have enough.
I think with Cat, obviously coming back from his injury, he's still just getting back into the flow of the game. We know he's a great player. I just want to see him take over, to be honest. I know he's that good of a player, so I want him to take the next step and take the first role on that team.
I mean, maybe if everything goes right, I'd say maybe Timberwolves get that one game, that one token game, but as of right now, I'm saying bring out the brooms. 4-0. Go Nuggets. I think they're making a deep run this year. Let's see. But next we got the Cavs versus Knicks. Great series here. I can't wait to hear what you're going to say about it.
I think this is probably my third favorite series right now. I love watching the Cavs. I think that's one of my favorite teams in the playoffs right now. I think the Cavs will still win this series, but obviously going to Madison Square Garden in the playoffs, Spike Lee's there, the crazy fans that are in New York. It's going to be hard for them to win, but I think when they go back to Cleveland, it will be 2-2. It's going to be tough. Mm-hmm. But Darius Garland, Evan Mobley need to continue to shine. We know what Donovan Mitchell can do. He needs to continue to be that all-star, almost MVP type of player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I got Cavs in 7 still. I haven't changed my mind, and here's why. I think the Cavs are going to lose the first game in Madison Square Garden because they're young and they're inexperienced there, and it's going to be tough. But I think they're going to bounce back that second game, make it 2-2. They're going to win their home game, lose in Madison again, and then take it back on the road, Game 7. Cavs in 7. Donovan Mitchell gets them to that next round, takes them to the next step. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I agree.
And then our final series, we got Celtics Hawks. It's not a ton to talk about here, but
I think the Celtics and the Hawks, it's going to be a sweep. I just don't think the Hawks are good enough to beat this Celtics team. The Celtics are obviously playing really well. They have 2 of the best young players in the league. I think Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, that duo is crazy. When you have Derek White scoring 20+, I think the first 2 games, that's really hard to stop. You have players like Malcolm Brogdon, the 6th man of the year. Al Horford, a really good defensive veteran. That's a hard team to play against. But yeah, I think they win these games on the road.
I think the top three teams in the East are just so far separated from the bottom three teams in the East playoffs. They all had significantly more wins, and that's why we're seeing the Sixers sweeping the Nets as the 3-6 seed. That's why we're seeing Celtics versus Hawks here. There's just nothing you can do. It's really just over. I got Celtics winning in 4 games. I originally said we were going to see a Trae Young crazy game. They win. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're just going to relax, take a back seat for next year. You know, the tough part of the series is already over. They got the first 2 games out of the way.
Yeah.
It's over. But yeah, that concludes our playoff predictions. And it's going to conclude our episode as well. Thank you guys for listening to episode 4. Follow us on TikTok. I'll have our profile down below in the comments. Watch all of our reels. Watch our Instagram. Please subscribe down below. Thank you guys for listening. Have a great rest of your week.